Hey everyone, it's Autumn. Welcome back. So today we are going to do my monthly declutter / monthly beauty basket video. So every month I do a video where I show you what I am trying out in my beauty basket, and I always start that video out with what I've decluttered. And normally that declutter comes from me testing things that have been in my beauty basket from the previous month, and anything that I end up not loving from what I have tested, I go ahead and I declutter. So when I build my beauty baskets, I kind of put a couple of different categories in there. It's usually new makeup that I am trying to test out or that I've just gotten. It's things that I've been neglecting and I just want to use a little bit more. And then there are also things in there that I think are seasonally appropriate, and I keep telling myself I'm going to use it when summer rolls around. And so I make sure that when summer does roll around that I put it in the beauty basket. And then if I end up not loving it, then I know that it's time for me to declutter it. So I am going to go ahead and start off with my declutter. And I have quite a few items in here, which is perfect because I have a friend that I went shopping with today. We went to Ulta and she was like, maybe I should buy this. And I was like looking at some things and I was like, no, I have something similar that I might be able to give to you. So just hold off for me to do a declutter, and then I'll, bring it in to you later. So that's what I'm doing here. So I think I'm actually going to start off with the eyeshadow palettes. The first one I want to start off with is one that I actually really like. It's just that these colors lean a little bit rosy for me. But I like the fact that they are desaturated and a little bit sort of like grayed out. But if the same concept of palette, instead of leaning rosy, maybe leaned a little like mustard, that would be like perfect for me. But I think this is perfect. My friend is blonde hair, blue eyes, and she's fair complected, and I think that these colors are going to look amazing on her. By the way, this is from Clio. It's their Pro Palette 11, which is called Walking the Cozy Alley. I actually did like the looks I got from it, but they just lean a little bit too pink for me. And I have other similar things I'm going to pass on. Also, if you guys are curious, I do sanitize everything because I know it looks very fingerprinty here. I keep a water bottle here with like 90 proof alcohol in it. And how I sanitize, it's a fine mist. So usually I will open it up and I will fine mist the shadows. And then I also make sure to do the outside. And then usually when I hand stuff off to people, it looks pretty much new by the time I sanitize everything. So obviously on the inside I do the same thing. And then just wipe it off of any actual surfaces. And the alcohol evaporates off of the makeup itself, but it does sanitize it. So now that's something for me to pass on. So I'm not going to sanitize every item here on screen, but just if you were curious, only the things that I can sanitize are what I pass on. So the next eyeshadow palette is from Fenty Beauty, and it's kind of a bronzer / eyeshadow palette. And I actually like that these shades lean a little bit more warm, but I kind of wish, and this is a little bit rosy, but this is the only bronzer that I actually have that's from this in the full size, and that is in the shade Into Sun. I just never reach for this. And I feel like I have so many other bronzers that flatter my face and what I'm going for. If I want to use bronzer as eyeshadow, I'm going to reach for those instead of these, because the ones that are actually like the tones that I need, which are actually, this leans a little bit red and this leans a little bit orange. So really the tones that I need are right here, but they're actually a little bit deep for what I need. So it's just not as useful as I was thinking it was going to be, and it's barely been touched. You can see some of the shades if you look up close. I don't know if I can get it. I don't know if you can tell. They haven't been touched. I think, yeah, this one hasn't been touched and this one's only been swatched. So anywho, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on. And then this one might be a shock, might not be a shock, but it was in my beauty basket. And again, these shades look muddy when blended together. They don't look right on my eye, but I think they might look okay on her. So it's kind of a weird mix here. You've got shades that lean a little bit orange. You've got rosy sorts of shades in here, gray shades. And then you have like those glitter top coats. The top coats are beautiful, but I never get an eye look that I like from this. And the lightest shade, which is right here, it looks kind of light there, but if I go close, there we go. That's a little bit closer, truer to color here. This is the lightest shade. And once kind of mixed with the oils of my eyelid and put on, it's like a super pale sort of creamsicle shade, and it just looks bizarre on my skin tone. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass that on. I keep saying I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on, but that's clearly what this is. It's a declutter. So I have a couple of blush palettes. The first one is from Laura Mercier, and this is the Cheek Canvas Soft Cheek Palette. And again, I've had this for quite some time. It's hardly used. You can kind of still see the imprinting on the shadows, not the shadows, but the blushes. And honestly, the only reason I really wanted this was for the shade Fresco. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'll just use the other shades too. Well, I got Fresco, and I don't use it the way I thought I would. But again, I think somebody else could get a lot of use out of this. This NARS palette, the shades just aren't right for me. Again, you've kind of got like this sort of creamsicle shade, and you've got your berries and then some brown blushes. And all mixed together, I can kind of get something near what is flattering to me, but like I could also just get a single blush that's flattering to me and not have to do all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass this on. This is the Exposed Cheek Palette from NARS. I'm getting rid of this Awestruck highlighter from Jaclyn Cosmetics. It's too deep as a highlighter, and I was using it as a blush topper. But after a while, it starts to kind of wear sort of a little bit patchy on the face. And it just doesn't wear well as a blush topper because that's not what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass that on. It's very pretty. When I initially put it on, I'm like, oh, this is gorgeous. And then I come back and I look and it starts to get super patchy. So this might be great to give to somebody who has a deeper skin tone to actually use as a highlighter, maybe up here to where it's not gonna look as patchy. So last month I feel like I did a really good job decluttering my cream blushes, and then I went back in and I decluttered some more. The first two are from Nude Sticks, and they're the nudies, and I just went through during the month and I would like take a day and I would like test these out on my cheeks and see how the shades went with my complexion. And so I was able to get rid of Sun Kissed and In the Nude. I also want to like point out, again, because I do sanitize everything with alcohol, I started to sanitize these and the alcohol pulled off the lettering on this one. So I'm gonna have to take this lid off and alcohol, like, you know, put alcohol on everything else on the bottle except for, because it takes off the color strip. Either way, it doesn't really matter. But here's this shade, which is In the Nude. And again, it was just kind of like a terracotta rosy sort of shade. And then the shade Sun Kissed was a little bit deeper, and just neither one really did it for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass those on. And then I have some from Rose Ink. So I literally had almost every single shade of the Rose Ink cream blushes, and I just got to thinking, I was like, if I wanted to reach for one of these, which ones am I least likely to reach for? And so the shade Delphine, you would think would kind of be my thing because it's so subdued, but it's just so lackluster. It does not bring life to my face. So that's going. And then the shade Azalea, I think would look perfect on somebody with a cool skin tone that just needed some brightening. But it's just, again, you can kind of see next to my face, it's just not quite right for me. And then the shade Anemone, which is a beautiful sort of bright coral. But there's another coral shade within this line that I would reach for before this one. So I'm passing it on. And then I'm also getting rid of this from Stila. It's in the shade Lilium. I love the formula of these, but I just haven't been reaching for it. And since it's a cream product, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on. I do have another one of these that I kept in the same formula, just in a different color. This is so old. I just have to get rid of it, but I always loved the shade. It was always so flattering on me. But this is the Estee Lauder Bronze Goddess Cheek Glow. I mean, this is like so old. There's like a random hair in it. It's been sitting in the back of my drawer and it's disgusting. So that's actually going in the garbage. This is pretty new. This is the shade Nude from I'm Unny, or Imani, I don't know. Whatever you want to say that is. If somebody, I feel like this is the color, if you guys watch, what is her name? Hannah Louise Poston. And she was talking about how she was looking for a blush that looked like old gum. This is it. This is probably exactly what she was looking for. For me, it's not flattering on my olive complexion. So here it is. I think this goes a little bit on the peach side of old gum though. Either way, and then here it is blended out. It almost blended, you can kind of see next to my face. It's not far off from my the color of my face. And I think that she's desaturated closer to like a pink desaturated, and I'm closer to a peach desaturated. So this just blended with me a little too much. And then for the same exact reason, I'm getting rid of Sex Appeal from NARS. This is like their sorts of liquid blushes. This is just too close to my skin tone to where it just looks like my makeup's just a little bit off, because here it is. So if I put that on my cheeks, it just looks off. And I'm also getting rid of the powder version of it. And this is a little bit more flattering, but I felt like I really had to build it up. And then also, because I sanitize my makeup so often with alcohol, the soft touch coating that is on the NARS packaging, after a while, if you wipe it down too often, it literally starts coming off. So, and then it gets sticky. So I have literally ruined the packaging because and I've done this to all of them that I have, because you can kind of even see, look how sticky that looks now. The alcohol, something in that is kind of like sticky, and the alcohol is kind of ruining it. So, and now I just keep spraying it because I'm like wiping it off. Yeah, don't spray your NARS packaging with alcohol to sanitize it. So I don't know, this will probably have to throw out because it's sticky. Who's gonna wanna take a sticky package? I do have one Buxom blush that I'm getting rid of in the shade Dolly, which I'm sure probably a lot of people are gonna be surprised that this is the one I get rid of, because this is the one normally people are really after. But again, I just don't think it's right for my complexion. There are a few others within that line that I really love. I'll put on a little bit here to kind of show you. You can kind of just see it's just not quite right. It's a little too cool purple, sort of maroon for me. It just looks off. And now I gotta even it out and look off for the rest of the video. It's okay, it's like the end of the night. Let me just, anyway, I'm gonna sanitize that and cast it on. And then I have this cream blush in Universal Pink from Beauty Pie. It says Universal Pink. It's not a universal pink. It does not look good on me. And then I have some highlighters here. The first one is actually one that I suggested to people in my drugstore highlighter video. And I still stand by that, and I still love the color. There are two problems I have with it though. The first problem is, oops, the cheap packaging. So you can kind of see anything that comes with like this sort of like clear plastic lid on the top. After you open it so many times, you can kind of see my lid is about to just come off and it's about to be done. The other thing is this color is perfect, but the formula is so thick that it just feels heavy and cakey on the skin, and you have to be really careful. I mean, you can blend it out, but I have so many other highlighters that are like those baked gelée formulas that just sit so much nicer on the skin. I don't even know who makes this. Actually, yeah, is it Winky Lux, I think? It's a little tiny Winky Lux highlighter. And it's a cream. And again, the color is great, but it's just so, like, it's just so much. I don't need to glow this much. I got it like as a sample and like, I think like if you buy so much beauty products, you know how like Ulta sometimes like gives bags of samples and stuff. I feel like it came in that. I know it came in some sort of gift with purchase. Maybe it didn't come from Ulta though, but either way, it was a gift with purchase and I'm just gonna go ahead and part with it. So I have a couple of foundation things I'm gonna get rid of. This first one is Dear Dahlia, and this is their Skin Paradise Sheer Silk Foundation. I did a whole video on the Dear Dahlia products and I really liked them, and I think it looked super nice on me when I did it, but I went to use it this year, and I don't know if it's because it has aged, but I went to use it a couple of weeks ago, and this oxidizes a tiny bit like a creamsicle sort of orange color once I get it on, and they do call this a neutral. And for me, I'm usually able to correct that using a little bit of blue pigment, but I'm not able to correct this one using much blue pigment because it's so light that the blue pigment is like so dark, and then it actually just affects the depth of the foundation. So yeah, it starts off like this, not too bad, but it kind of got like a deeper sort of creamsicle-y orange color on my skin. And the formula, I don't know if you can tell, my hand is a little bit thicker of a formula, and I just find that sheer coverage foundation, like those really super sheer, easy to like blend out foundations, are where it's at for me. And this one just isn't it. You can even see now it's starting to go a little bit creamsicle. And for a similar reason, I have this one from NARS, which I think they've replaced this formula with something else. I've had it in my drawer for about 2 years now. This is their All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. Maybe they still have this, I don't know. I have the shade right here in light for Deauville. It's too yellow, and because it's that light, if I went to correct it with my blue pigment like I typically do, it just deepens it a little bit, and this one's a little bit harder to correct. So, and it's also harder to correct because what I correct it with is kind of like a sort of cream formula. It's this, and this is a liquid. And I just find it a little bit difficult to keep the formula the way I want it. Typically, I don't find this affects my foundation formula if I just put in a little bit, but because this is so liquidy, I find that it does a little bit. And then I have some cream eyeshadows. This first one is the Rimmel Wonder Cloud All Day Wear Soft Shadow. I really like this, but I actually find it to be quite similar to the Giorgio Armani that I have. And I'm getting to the point in my declutters that if I have two products that function the same, even if one's drugstore, one's high-end, I'm not gonna keep the drugstore or even high-end. I'm gonna keep the one that I am gonna reach for. So I'm obviously gonna reach for, I don't know why I say obviously, but I do reach for the Giorgio Armani before I reach for this one. So I'm getting rid of that. This is the Smashbox Always On. I love these. These are waterproof. You can swim in these and they will not come off. But I have similar shades, and this is new and not even used, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass that on. This, I like used it once, and it's the Stila Kitten. And I went in to use it again, and it dried out. Like, it is like dry and flaky in this thing. So like I can hardly get any off on my hand. So I just need to throw this out. And then this is newer. This is from, what is it from? About Face. This color, which is Capulets, leans very pink. So here it is on my hand. I don't like pink on me. Like, I think this color might actually be okay as a blush, but around my eyes, it's just too much. I can't. And I'm excited because I know a lot of the stuff, when I get rid of things that don't work for my coloring, I always like to kind of group them together and give them to people that I know it would work for their coloring, and they a lot of the times end up loving the products. I do have a couple things from Stila that were in my drawer. They came in like a little set with a mascara a long time ago, and I recently took out the mascara to test it. But these were in there, and it's the eyeliners, the liquid and then also the regular. I hardly ever wear eyeliner. I have a drawer full of eyeliners, so I'm not even gonna like open those. I'm just gonna pass them on. And then also this tiny little Nude Sticks lip gloss. It's been sitting in my drawer. If I want a lip gloss, I'm not gonna reach in and go for this little tiny sample lip gloss. And then there is a magnetic, what is this? Oh, no. What is this? 2-in-1 liquid eyeliner lash enhancing serum. Yeah, I'm not. I think I got that like in a little gift with purchase from Ulta as well. Okay, so that's everything that I'm decluttering. I'm gonna go ahead and put all of that over to the side, and then I will dig in and put together this month's beauty basket, which, spoiler, I don't know if I'm gonna film a video on it or not, but I was sick the past couple of weeks, and while I was sitting there sick, I had all of those Ulta points, and I'm like, I'm on a low buy, I can't buy stuff. But I always told myself I could use the points. And then Sephora, I noticed for the first time ever, actually allows you to cash in 2,000 points. I bet, was it, no, 2,000 or 2,500 points for $100. Either way, I cashed in all of my Sephora points that I had, and I bought a couple $100 worth of stuff. And then I cashed in all of my Ulta points, which was over $1,000 worth of stuff. So I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to test. Not all of it has come in the mail yet, but I thought that that would be the perfect thing for me to do so that I would have some things to test for you. So I think I will film a haul video with all of that stuff, but just know that that's just gonna go directly into the beauty basket once it gets here. Either way, give me a second and we will start building the rest of my basket. So you've seen the declutter, and you probably have already seen my haul video for this month and last month. I'm like posting them on the same day. I'm backed up. Either way, you've seen those videos, and so you probably have a good idea of what I'm putting in my makeup basket for this month. But I'm gonna go through the categories and just kind of tell you why they are in here. And the first category is my seasonal category. So every time I do one of these baskets, I keep in mind that there are products in my collection that I tell myself I'm gonna use it in such and such season. And so spring is rolling around, and I have products that I've been telling myself that I'm gonna use more in the spring. I'm keeping those for spring. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what those are. And if you guess that they're mostly eyeshadow products, you were correct. Because you can kind of tell, I normally don't use a lot of color on my eyes. The first one is this Anastasia palette. And I think maybe the last time you used it was last spring. I think I did like one look with it. So I'm pulling this out, and I'm gonna try to do some spring looks with it. If you want, I can film them and kind of do that video testing out stuff from the basket. If you happen to have this palette and you're kind of like wondering how to use it. The one shade that pops out the most to me is obviously this color right here. I think it's beautiful. I just have a hard time wearing super vivid shades like that, even though I want to, and I see other people wearing them. I think that our complexions aren't quite the same. Either way, I did pull that out. And then to go along with that same purple that is in it, I have this pencil from Beauty Pie, and I think I did a spring video like last year or maybe even the year before. You can kind of see it's very similar to the other, but it's just kind of a cream form of it. So I pulled that out to use, and then I'm pulling something out that's super old. This is the Dior palette and Pastel Fontages. It's 234. This is in like that thick, older packaging too. And actually, I always thought this packaging was so much nicer because like you can see, yeah, the CD under. I just think it's so much prettier than our current packaging. However, I think these are beautiful. But looking at me, I probably should just let it go because you can see I'm a natural like autumn color palette. None of these really fit my color palette. I'm gonna play around with them, see if I can make it work, see if they look beautiful. I just love everything about this. I think these are so pretty, but I just think I need to let it go. And then this is from Charlotte Tilbury. And I find that these lean a little bit pink. So I'm gonna play around with them, see what I think. This right here, the shiny shade, is so pretty, but I just think, I don't know. We'll see what I think after I get it all on. But it's like a weird sort of like warm, like mauve-y pink though, which mauve is typically cool. But I think when you put this into the mix with it, I don't know, it's just like a muted sort of mauve. Like a muted warm mauve. That's like the worst way to describe it, but that's what it is. And then I also have products that I have neglected that I want to get a little bit of use out of, see how much I still like them. And I decided to pull out two of my full face palettes. So I have a lot of traveling coming up this summer, and I always buy these kinds of palettes with travel in mind. So I want to play with a few each month just to kind of see if they truly are great for travel, if I'm going to keep it for that, if I really like them. This first one is from Charlotte Tilbury, and I think this is like the second one she ever came out with. It's the 5-minute face on the go, and this is the Smoky Eye Beauty Palette. Now, if it didn't have this black in it, it's more my speed. And then you add that in, I got it on my fingers now, you add that in, and I just feel like the black doesn't go with this. It's like you have these light, beautiful neutral tones and then a black. So I'm gonna pull this out, play around with it, and see what I think. And then along the same vein, this palette is still out there, and I think they've come out with like a pink one more recently. But this is the Natasha Denona, which one is this? The Glam Face Palette in Light. I'm pretty sure it's still available. I used it once, so we're gonna play around with it. And then I have a couple of foundations that are kind of on my chopping block, or that I just need to kind of decide if I want to use it up or if I'm just gonna get rid of it. So the first one I need to decide if I'm gonna use up or get rid of is this Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder in the shade 4 Fair. And then I have two cushion BB cream type, well, what are they? Just cushion compact foundation type products. I have one from Misha. Here it is. And then I have this one from Clio or Clio. I don't know how you pronounce this brand. So I'm gonna play around with them and see what I think. Because I think the colors now are around where they should be for my complexion as well. So I'm gonna try to use those, see if I still like the coverage and all that stuff. And then I have these foundations from KVD Beauty. It's the Good Apple. It was super hyped up online, and it looks like I used a ton of this one. Like I've hit pan on it. And the only reason that I've hit pan on this is because I did not find this flattering on my skin when I initially got it. I literally used this foundation when I dressed up for Halloween as Uncle Fester, and I needed something to like blink me out and make me look dead. And I literally used the foundation like all over my bald head cap and everything, just to blend everything. So I'm just gonna play around with it. I have two because again, I have to mix shades of literally everything to get it to match my skin. So we'll see if that's something I need to keep or pass on. And then The last kind of two items that are kind of on the chopping block, if I'm keeping or getting rid of, are both from Kosas. The first one's the bronzer in light, and I haven't had it like a super long time. And since I've had it, it has smelled like crayons. And I remember somebody saying that if it smells like crayons that it's bad, but mine has always smelled like that. So I'm gonna play around with it, see how it looks, and then if I find that it doesn't look good, or if it bothers me, or if I can't stand the smell, I'm just gonna get rid of it. And then I got this Cloud Set powder at the same time, and I've hardly used it. The one thing is about these baked products, you can kind of see where I've kind of like, there you go. It's kind of like hard here until like you can kind of like rub it down. I don't think that really means anything, but either way. And then the rest of the stuff in here, oh, actually except for one thing, is stuff you would have, two things. Okay, most of the things in here are things you would have seen in my recent haul. I'll start with the first two things that were not in that haul. And I have this Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer Long Wear Makeup. I have this. I haven't really used it much, and I've seen a couple people talking about it again recently, and then I also saw it on the 21 Days of Beauty. So I'm going to pull this out and see if I like that. And then also I've been struggling with this Dior foundation. I was expecting this to be more like MAC Face and Body, where it's kind of dewy, and I find that it always goes matte and it oxidizes a little bit. So it's starting to get warmer here, and I'm just going to see if I like it better with the warm weather. If not, I'm going to go ahead and pass that along. And then I got this new Guerlain foundation to try out. And then I ended up having to get two of these Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Light Revealers just to mix. You can kind of see this one's like a little dark and orange, and this one's a little light. So mixing them together should give me a decent color. And then I also got this Bare Minerals Well Rested. I have it on my under eyes today, and I think my under eyes look really good. So I just want to pull that out and play around with it. I also got this Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Bronzer. I'm going to try to use this along with these and see if I have better luck. I did try to use it once, and I found that it looked a little bit muddy on my complexion. So I'll play around with it a little bit more, and if not, this might just be going. And then the eyeshadow palettes I pulled out to play around with this month are all from the haul that I just did. So the first one is this Chanel one. And I just want to see if like it's flattering to me. It's a very muted, sort of like dusty palette, and I think it might be better on like a muted summer sort of color palette, like a soft summer. And then I pulled this out. This is like an oldie but goodie. I've used a whole one of these up before. I just wanted to pull it out and see if I love it as much as I did when I first got it. And this is the Clinique Quad and Teddy Bear. And then these two new MAC palettes that came out. MAC came out with like a whole like library again of like these pre-made palettes. And these are the two that interested me the most. This one right here is Unfiltered Nudes. And then this one is, what is it? Bronze Influence. And so I just wanted to pull these out and play with them and see the quality. I find that the quality is a little bit different in these. I've only used one of them and swatched one of them. And I find that it was a little more powdery than I'm typically used to with MAC shadows. So I just love the packaging though. And I think they did a beautiful job of matching like the inside of the palette to the art on the outside, to where you know exactly what colors are going to be inside of it. So anyway, that is everything I've decluttered this month and everything I plan on testing and using. I do have quite a few videos planned. I'm hoping to be able to start getting more videos up. I was sick for an entire month, and that really threw things off. So a lot of these videos are gonna be kind of redundant because you're gonna get March and April's videos like together. And I think I'm just gonna post them on the same days if you wanna watch them both. Anywho, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.